Recently joined the cast of Days of Our Lives, and this is the first soap opera that you've worked on. What's been the most surprising part about the experience thus far? And how's this genre and way of storytelling pushed you as a creative?
I have a lot more respect for the people working on these shows than I ever did. I always, anything in this industry is it's a lot of work, but I walked into this and I had a pretty decent understanding of how to make the cookie, so to speak. And the way they do it here, it was very intimidating for the first couple weeks. It took me like 2 weeks to really
Hmm.
settle into the format, the pace, the amount of dialogue. Yeah, it really challenges your instincts as an actor because we move so fast. You just got to rely on kind of understanding it and move, understand it and move. So it's been a really great exercise for me to kind of gain this skill set, and everyone's great here. So, and I'm not just saying that. I would not say it at all. Everyone's really lovely.
Hey, you grew up with these characters on your television. Do you remember the first moment that you discovered Days? What is it? Why do you think this series has survived the test of time?
So I do remember my grandmother was actually a Days of Our Lives fan. I think everyone's grandmother at some point was a Days of Our Lives fan. But my mom was a General Hospital fan, and so there's the kind of rivaling. And so I grew up with those on the TV, and I think it stood the test of time because, in some ways, the format, right? It's every day there's a new episode, and so I think a lot
Yeah.
of people feel like we are kind of a part of their family. We're in their home on the screen, and just talking to people, they develop a sort of bond with these characters and their storylines and get really invested in it. So I like to think that it offers some kind of relief for people to just kind of tune out and just enjoy some content like that.
Great answer. I think what's so interesting about this character is he's really at this defining moment in his life where he's in between childhood and adulthood. And you brought so much nuance to his journey, especially his tumultuous upbringing. How did you find your way into this character?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I was thrust in. I replaced Jamie Martin Mann, who's fantastic. He did a really great job, and he really set a foundation very well. And so just talking to people, understanding what's happened, and there's always a tricky dynamic replacing someone because I am not him. We have a different perception of the character, and so he had his version, I have my version. There's probably some significant differences, but we're obviously living in the same world under the same sort of circumstances.
Perfect segue to this next question, actually. But this is such an interesting project where you're taking over a role of a character who other actors have played. Did you take anything away from Jamie's performance and infused it into your own? How is your version of Tate different?
Well, I think the big thing, especially for the fans, is I am a little bit older than Jamie, and I carry myself a little older, and I think that was intentional. They intend to sort of, he's like you said, he's at a defining point in his life, and so trying to gain this maturity. I think Tate is a an old soul, sort of to speak. He's had to grow up very fast, and so I just sort of tried to take what Jamie was doing and just age it up very slightly. And yeah, he gave me a really nice sort of platform to jump on.
I know you can't say too much, but what can you tease about what's ahead for Tate in the coming episodes?
A lot of teenage and adult drama. There's a lot of it always blows my mind how they can create drama all the time. I mean, that's the brand, right? The soap opera.
Yeah.
But I'm always impressed reading the scripts. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening now. So there's a lot of twists and turns, and we are 6 months ahead in terms of what we're shooting right now. So
Mm.
there's a lot that happens. So yeah, buckle up. There's a lot of different storylines to come for sure.
Yeah. In addition to starring in the series, you're also joining the Day Players band for a couple of performances in November. What can fans expect from your set? How much does music play a role in your acting and the way that you prepare for projects and vice versa?
Yeah, I am really moved by music. I've played music for a long time, and so there's a lot of times where kind of getting into the zone for something, music can really help me. I mean, as actors, we try to use whatever we can to just ground ourselves in whatever's going on. And so music's been very helpful, and I've been very passionate about music for many years, and I've done different stints in different bands, and I'm always kind of in my happy place playing music, and that's exactly what these guys are doing. And they wanted to have basically an excuse to go play the songs that they love playing and have fun with a bunch of fans. And instead of like doing just conventions, they were like, let's do a band together. This was years ago. And yeah, so just sitting around in dressing rooms playing music, it happened very organically. But the thing that I enjoy most about the day players is genuinely how much fun they're having. It's not a job, it's just a passion project for all these guys, and we just play fun songs, and I think people really enjoy it. So it's just a party. It's really fun.
And outside of Days, you're also going to be starring in The Lockdown, which is coming out on digital platforms next week. What can you tell us about the film and your character in it?
Absolutely. The lockdown is very opposite of Days. I
Yeah.
was just talking about that, but really fun, kind of dark action flick. The intention for the film was to kind of bring back a genre that is not been around for a while, of these kind of 90s martial arts action movies. And I think we took that and we put it into well, we took that storyline and put it into sort of a modern, more artistic way. I really feel like I'm proud of the movie. I am. The action's really solid. It looks beautiful, and it's a really interesting storyline. So I'm excited for people to see it.
Yeah, what was it about that role in particular that attracted you to
Yeah.
it?
So I've been in martial arts my whole life, and a lot of the projects I've done in the past have included action and movement and choreography and whatnot. So as an adult, it was really exciting. I haven't done something like that in a couple years. So it was really exciting to revisit that side of my sort of skill set in the martial arts and the action. They didn't have any stunt doubles on the film, so everything you see is me and Katie Lotz. And the storyline is a brother and sister have to go to visit their father in Thailand, or Myanmar, I'm sorry, to get this deed of their gym signed over. And basically, it becomes a kind of locked up abroad situation where
Mhm.
they get thrust into a situation, an illegal fight ring where people have to fight to stay off of death row. So, pretty dark and a really epic action movie.
Like you said, you got to do your own stunts for that project. How much does that physicality allow you to further tap into your character's circumstances? How do you create that space for yourself to dive into the dark places that you have to for that film?
Yeah. When it comes to like the dark places for that film, it was fairly easy because we shot in a real prison, and so it's easy to just kind of immerse yourself in the environment, and it's really dark and it's scary, and I've never been to prison myself, so just being there was a bit shocking, and could very easily just sort of assimilate into the world. And when it comes to the action, I am really glad that I know how to do all that stuff, because I feel like a lot of action movies, the action pushes this. I'm sorry, the action is like what the story is, whereas in this movie, I feel like the story justifies the action. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mm.
feel like I can sort of tell the story throughout the fight, instead of like telling the story, you see a cool fight and then you're back to the story. I feel like we had opportunity to sort of add in these moments that you can push the story along throughout the fights. And you care about these characters and what they're going through, so it's fun to play that in the circumstance.
We're in such an exciting time in this industry where streaming platforms are going to give such a broader reach to projects. When the film comes out, is there a scene in particular you're really excited for audiences to see?
There are quite a few scenes that I'm very proud of in that film. The action stuff I'm very excited for people to see, because that was what blew me away. But there's some sleepers in there. There's some really great intimate scenes between like me and Katie, where we're just dealing with the stress of what it would be like to be in prison and be in this situation. And I like those scenes. I think they're I'm proud of those scenes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got one final question for you. We hope you have a huge run on Days, but as you look ahead, you've done so much already in your career. What's left on that bucket list? Could we see you directing something again in the future?
I would love that. I am very passionate about directing, and it just sort of took a back seat to acting for right now, but I would definitely like to revisit directing in the future. I really I look forward to playing roles that I really connect to. I think that every once in a while I read a script that I go, "Oh, I get this." Those are the things that I'm excited to play, the things that I sort of understand in my gut, and I feel like I have something to say about it. Those roles, I look forward to playing those. And when it comes to just working, I love what I do, man. So just if I'm
Yeah.
standing on a set, I'm happy. So I'm pretty easy to please that way.